To add doors into this, we're going to create a door actor, and I found an asset in the starter content folder, so we'll use that asset. Right click, Blueprint Class, Actor. Call this one Door Animation, and double click to open. So now I want to bring in the mesh that I'd like to use. So click plus in the components, and we want static mesh, and we'll call this door model. And then we'll scroll over in the details and find the one that we want, which is door enter. And the pivot point is in the correct location for the rotation. Otherwise, we'd have to change the pivot point. And now we want to select our scene root and add a box for the collision. So we'll do a box collision, call this trigger. And we want to position this so that it covers the door enough for when the player overlaps it, it will activate the coding. So we'll make it just big enough for the overlap. And compile and save. And we need one variable, so I'm going to click on the plus. And this is going to be a float variable, so this is going to hold the beginning start position of the door. And now we'll set up the construction script, which is what happens initially with this object when it's activated. So I will bring in the door mesh, the door model here. And I want to get the relative transformation. Now in this, in the return value, it holds the information for all the transforms. So relative transforms, that's your X, Y, and Z. To see it, I need to use a split struct. So now it's showing me the location, rotation, and scale. But I need to do that one more time for rotation, split struct, and now I can get X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to pull out from the construction script to set door start. So what is going to be the starting position? And the starting position I want to be whatever's held in Z. Compile and save. And I'm choosing Z because it's the Z axis that this object will rotate on. So the blue is Z. So if I start to rotate this, it's changing the Z number. Compile and save. And now we'll set up the movement in the event graph. So I want to start with event actor begin overlap. So when something overlaps this trigger, what do I want to happen? I want to play an animation. So we'll look for timeline and set up an animation. And we'll do the reverse for the end of the animation. So event actor end overlap. So when it leaves the trigger area, play the reverse. So to set up the animation, I can do that in the timeline. If I double click, it opens up to a place to hold a track. So let's click add a float track. And we'll make the length 2 seconds. And at our start, we're going to add a key. And our key will be at 0, 0. And at the end of the track, we'll add another key, And this will be at timeline 2, and we'll go value, let's say 1. What does that look like? Oh, we'll keep it at 2. And now I'm going to click and drag both of these keys and right click over the little diamond, and I want to check cubic interpolation. So I'm going to check the user interpolation here. And we'll compile and save this. And go back to the event graph. And we'll bring in the door start variable again, get door start. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set up a linear interpolation node. So that's kind of using a parallel. When something moves when you move from point A to point B, do something in between that time. So we're going to look for lerp. And then what we want to do is we want to rotate let's do subtract. So we'll do a minus. We'll do subtract. And we want to subtract 90 from the value. And this will go into B. So we're taking the starting position, subtracting 90 in whatever value we're connecting. And the new track, so if we double click here, this new track 0, see if we can rename it. We'll call this open. So it makes a little more sense when we look at it. So let's go back now. So now for open, that is going to go into the alpha. So we'll see, this may need to be, we may need to add that depending on the direction, but we'll see if it works with that. And then for our update, we're going to set the relative rotation. For the door model. And our door model is the target. But from here we want to get our relative transforms. And again, we're going to split the struct and split the struct. So then for this new rotation, I need to split this struct so I can access the X, Y, and Z. And our Z value is going to come from our lerp linear interpolation node that we're setting up to make this movement. And then our X and Y will come from the model position. Compile, save. Now let's place this actor in the scene. Let's rotate it into position. And we can scale this. And now let's find our player start and move it right here so we can test it. Player start. So it does work. It is opening the door when it hits the trigger area. I think that we can make the trigger box a little bit bigger, so I'll go back in here. Go to the viewport, select trigger, and let's scale this out. Compile and save. And we'll play. So there it goes, and the door will close when I leave the trigger. So the door is set up. So now we can take this door mesh, this door blueprint, and just keep bringing it in and putting it where the doors are for this particular design. Or I could copy the one that's in here already since it's scaled. We'll do edit, duplicate, edit, duplicate. Now these doors are going to open from this side. If I want to change the side that they open from, I can do that just by repositioning them. And for the ones that are in here, so let's see if I can let me hide this for the moment. in the design document and the concept, not all of these doors were meant to work. So to set that up, I could just delete the trigger objects on each of these. So each of these has their own blueprint. So let's say, for example, we'll go into this front room. And this one, so we'll edit this door animation. We'll go in here and we'll remove the trigger box off of this object, compile, and save. So now this door won't be able to go through, and you can see it. You can see that, well, you can't see it here, but there's no trigger box on it. So now if I play and I go through the door, so that door opens. I can't go through this one, but this one that is interesting. It looks like it took the triggers off of each of them. So we'd have to set up a separate actor that would not have the door, not have the trigger. So let's do this. Door open, door close. We know we want to go out this way. Door open, and let's go out this way. And let's go over and get our little object somewhere over here. Oh, got to me first. Oh well. Okay, so now let's duplicate this asset. We'll call this door animation. We'll call this door prop. And on this one, we'll take the trigger off. And we'll bring this in. So this is the door that we want to replace. So we're going to move this one that does not have a trigger into this location. So now we shouldn't be able to go through this particular door. Okay, I can go through this door, opens. I cannot go through that door, but I can go through that one. Let's try custom, and we're going to keep the block on everything for collisions. I'm still actually able to go through it. So this particular model does not have any collisions. So we could put a box collider around it. And we want to use complex as simple, and save this. So that updated these two files now. So let's compile and save and see if that changes it. So when the door is opening, we're not actually going through it, but for the version that it's holding on, we shouldn't be able to go through it. It should be blocked. So this one, door open. Here we go. So now it has a collider on it, so I actually can't go through the door. And this one I can go through. These I can go through. This one opens the other way. This one opens.